2, 1.
All right, and we are in the open.
So good to have you with us tonight. I've got the coach, Dave Sacuti, the point guard, Jason Preston, and I'm just Marty Bannister, and we're glad you're with us here this evening for this one.
Marty Bannister, play-by-play voice of Ohio basketball on ESPN+. Something that I've done TV for since 2016 here in Athens. I've been doing play-by-play on TV since the late 1990s. I also do radio coverage for Ohio football and radio for the OHSAA radio network and Spectrum TV and for Fox as well too. TV is so much about telling stories on the air, telling stories about each player. And that's where you really have to dig deep to find those interesting stories about each and every player. This is what I do each and every game. It is called a spot board, spot chart, however you wish to look at it. A lot of guys do it a different way. I do handwritten because it helps with memory retention. Some play-by-play announcers do it off of a computer. They have Excel spreadsheets. This is something I've used since I started in the business back when I was about 20 years of age. It was passed on to me by Tom Hamilton, the voice of the Cleveland Guardians, and I'm not giving it back.
One of the trickiest things, I think, as a color commentator is you're always working with different partners in terms of the play-by-play guys. So you have to kind of do that preparation as well, but that's kind of enjoyable to do. One of the things that people ask me about are my cue cards here. And a lot of people ask, why do I have color coordinated for Central Michigan here and Ohio University? And I'll tell you the reason why. During the course of the game, things are going fast. I need to sometimes look down quickly to kind of make a point to my partner, and that's why I have these color combinations. For Ohio, it's green. I know where to go.
Yeah, so I kind of got my notes here on the phone too. It's kind of a breakdown of the whole game, you know, given, like I said, the strengths and weaknesses of both teams. And I get a good feel and sense for what both teams are going to do, so I like to always be prepared as well.
My name is Jordan Bose. I am the Assistant Athletic Director for Broadcast and Video Services here at Ohio University. I am in charge of all of our broadcast and video projects, namely our ESPN Plus productions. I also teach EM 2700, which is Intro to Sports Production here at the Scripps School. I think the most unique thing is kind of what we already talked about, the fact that our students run pretty much everything. You know, we have students sitting in the director and the producer chair on most of our games. I could very easily step in and say, hey, no, I'm going to produce or direct every single game that we do because that would be within the purview of my job. But I think it's much more valuable to our students, to the culture of our program and our university to provide those opportunities and to set our students up better going forward. On a typical game day, we have about 15 positions that we need to staff with student staff or myself or any other additional staff. The first one is the producer, who is kind of like the architect of the show. They're the ones developing the plan of what needs to go on air. The director is kind of like the foreman of the show. They're the ones that are giving the directions to execute the plan that the producer has laid out. The technical director is the one that's actually pressing the buttons on our switcher to change what input is going out to air and making sure that the graphics is on air and everything that goes into what you see on the screen. Obviously, our replay operator is in charge of all of our replays, deciding what the best camera angle is. They have up to 5 angles that they're looking at any given time, and they have to, in a split second, decide what's the best camera angle to tell this part of the story. Then we have our graphics operator, who is pretty self-explanatory. They're developing and executing any graphics that we put on the screen. We have 4 to 5 camera operators, all getting different assignments, all having different assignments on what they're supposed to be shooting throughout the game. I think the other thing that a lot of people don't realize is just how much goes into all of this. We don't show up, you know, an hour before the game and turn all cameras on and we're ready to go. You know, I'm working ahead of time, making sure that we have graphics ready to go, that we have our stats are ready to go, that any sort of replay packages are ready to go for our broadcast. We have a rundown sheet that we set up with our broadcasters for each game and talk about everything that we want to hit throughout the game. It's not just show up and go. There's plenty of time. There's a ton of prep work that goes into it.
For Jason Preston, for Dave Zakuti, for Tanaya Stevens, and for our entire ESPN crew, I'm Marty Bannister. Ohio wins 84-82.
Okay.
All right. And you guys are clear.